Dolphins roster news to report on Tuesday. Not something you typically see the week of wildcard weekend. Usually you kind of want to have your roster a bit firmed up, but man, you know the story. With the injuries that we have faced, suffered, players lost, here we are. We are adding bodies in the form of Justin Houston, Bruce Irvin, and Malik Reed was actually added to the team's practice squad. So what do these guys have in common? Yeah, they're all edge rushers because of everyone we have lost recently throughout the season. Obviously, Andrew Van Ginkel, Cameron Goode, they go down week 18 against the Bills. We obviously lost Jaelan Phillips, Bradley Chubb along the way as well. We were down to Emmanuel Ogbah and Melvin Ingram as the only active edge rushers on the roster for the remainder of that game against the Bills. Now it is out there. Andrew Van Ginkel, Cameron Goode obviously will miss the rest of the season as well. Not edge rusher related, but Jerome Baker, injury bug bit him as well. Again, he comes back for a week, gets to play a couple of quarters against the Bills. Boom, wrist surgery. He's out for the year. And now it's looking like Xavien Howard is at least going to miss the game against the Chiefs. Hopefully have a game after that. But regardless, Mike McDaniel was asked in his presser on Monday, hey, are we going to see some guys playing against the Chiefs that, aren't even currently in the building right now for the Miami Dolphins? And as we all assumed, yeah, he said yes. And then Tuesday we got the answers, and you can see it's in the form of Irvin, Houston, and Reed. Obviously, like I said, Reed going to the practice squad. Justin Houston is probably the headliner of this crew. He was most recently with the Carolina Panthers. They released him back on December 19th. Now, he's not young by any means. He's 34 years old. He had been placed on IR for the Panthers since November 4th with a hamstring injury. He played in 7 games this year with the Panthers, registered a half sack, 3 tackles for a loss, and 2 quarterback hits. So no, not much in regards to production this year. However, the guy did have a hell of a career. Is having a hell of a career, I should say. 112 career sacks between the Chiefs, Colts, Ravens, Panthers. And he actually put up 9.5 sacks in 14 games the previous season with the Baltimore Ravens. His career year did, coincidentally enough, come with the Kansas City Chiefs. So we're getting a guy that's used to playing in these big games, playing in these elements that the Chiefs can play in, which we're forecasted to play in what? Arguably, which could go down as the coldest game in Dolphins history. 2014, he had 22 sacks. He's had 4 seasons in his career with double-digit sacks. However, the last one of those such seasons came in 2019 with the Colts. If we shift over to Bruce Irvin, most recently with the Detroit Lions, he was released from their practice squad actually a few days ago, back on January 4th. He had recorded 1 sack in 2 games played this season. Last year with the Seattle Seahawks, he had 3.5 sacks. He's actually played pretty sparingly the last 4 years. Just 2 games in 2020, 6 games in 21, 11 last year, and then 2 so far this season. For his career, 56.5 sacks. And if you remember back to 2012, he was actually a first rounder. He went 15th overall that year. Also, kind of like Justin Houston, he's at the end. He's 36 years old. And then Malik Reed, a familiar name. As you remember, he was with the Dolphins this year in camp, in preseason. He did not make our final roster, however, and he landed with the Las Vegas Raiders, where he recorded 3 tackles in 4 games played. Now, Malik Reed does have some experience with this defense, specifically with Vic Fangio from their time together in Denver. However, I don't want to put a ton of stock into that, since that relationship alone wasn't enough to keep him on our initial 53 to begin the season. But regardless, as we kind of talked about in the intro, as the case kind of with all 3 of these signings, we need bodies. And quite honestly, as you know, it's hard to find quality bodies that are just walking the streets the week of wild card weekend in the playoffs. So yeah, all things considered, cannot be too upset by these additions today. We got bodies, we got people, and we're likely going to see at least probably 1 or 2 of them in this opening round game against the Chiefs. So that is what I've got. Quick one today. Let's hear your thoughts on the signings. Drop those in the comments. We'll be back with our usual preview videos as we get set for that wild card matchup Saturday against the Kansas City Chiefs, streaming exclusively on Peacock. Until then, Miami Dolphins fans, fins up.